Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to have a story time about why I moved out of my apartment. I've only living there for 2 months. 2 months. So I moved into this apartment in Baltimore. It was so nice. Like the area is nice. The scenery was very nice, like nature, the woods. It was that sort of scene. Like it was just very nice. There were deer there. Well, no, not there were, but there are deer there, and like different animals that you don't see in the city. So it was exciting, and I was excited to move into that apartment. I was gonna be by myself, and it was just very spacious. The kitchen was nice. It had nice appliances, and it was a nice sized bedroom. The living room was nice, like a nice space. It was a very nice space. Outside was beautiful. Everything was just so nice. When I first went to see the apartment, I was like, okay, this is a nice space. I mean, there were a few nicks that had to be like, fixed, but overall it was very nice. So this apartment, I paid the deposit and I rented it and I signed the lease and everything online. So I did everything without even seeing the apartment. Fluke accident. I mean, I was just excited when I was speaking to the leasing agent. She was like, "Oh, you are approved." And it happened so quickly. So, I was like, wow, I'm excited about this. I'm going to have my own place because living in New York, it's honestly almost impossible to get your own space living in New York. So I got approved. I was happy. So I went there, like I said, and visited and everything, and it was just beautiful. I was excited. So I was there, staying there. Everything was going okay. And then I went on a trip to Texas. When I came back from Texas, I walked into the apartment and there were like bubbles in the roof in the bathroom. First thing, I walked into the living room and it was soaking wet. The floor was soaking wet. The floorboards were like brown at this point. So, and this happened because I went to Texas maybe for a week. I came back and found my apartment just like soaked in this brown water. It smelled like just like old house, like mildew, like mold. It was just horrible. And I was like not happy about that at all. A part of my bedroom was wet because the house was all carpet instead of like the bathroom and the kitchen, but everything else was carpet in the apartment. The entire floor was just covered in carpet. So you can imagine, when I say the carpet was wet, the carpet was wet. So went into the bathroom. I seen that there was like paint dripping from the wall. Like the paint was moving down on the wall. The ceiling was just like leaking. It was like brown, like had this oxidized rust on the ceiling. The walls, like I said, the paint was just moving down the walls. The floor was wet. All of my bath mats and everything that I had just bought, everything was wet. So I'm just like, what is going on? And at this point, I think like the leasing agent that was there at that time, she was on break or something. So I called the office and I'm like, oh my gosh, I come home and something is going on. I mean, the entire apartment is soaking wet. I don't know what to do. Like the floor is wet, the paint is dripping on the walls, like it smells horrible, like this is just bad. So the lady that I was speaking to on the phone, she didn't work in the office. She was like an off-site agent or whatever. And she was like, oh, I'll put a note in for everything that's going on, and then as soon as the lady comes back, who's in the office at this time, you know, they'll help you. I'm just upset. I'm just explaining to this lady everything that I see, how I just moved in like a month ago. I haven't even been here that long. Like, what is happening in this place? Like, how is this possible, you know? So I'm on the phone with her, just telling her everything or whatever. And then I walked to the front and nobody was at the office. But luckily, the maintenance guy like drove around from somewhere. He just pulled up. And so he was like, you needed help with something too, because somebody else had spoke to him before I did. But he was like, do you need help with something too? And I'm like, yes, my apartment is basically flooded. Like in the bathroom walls, the paint is coming off. Like there's something going on in the ceiling. I don't know what's happening. And he's like, okay, what's your apartment? He was very calm. I mean, throughout everything, the maintenance guys were just like very calm, you know. So he was like, what's your apartment number? I'll go and check it out. Like, am I allowed to go in and check it out? I'm like, yeah, sure. Go see what's going on. And he gets in there. They get in there. They start doing their job, whatever it is that, you know, they can do. And he's like, you have 3 major leaks. And he's like, this is going to be some work to get done. So I'm like, okay, you know, I don't know what to do. So I'm just like there. And a good thing, you know, I'm headed out. I mean, at this point, I went back to the apartment and because I had plans to go somewhere else, but I decided to go back to the apartment. I get back to the apartment. I see all of this. I'm like, I'm leaving. No, I'm not staying. I couldn't use the bathroom. Basically couldn't stay there. Overall, it was an entire mess. Like, it was a big mess. And then the leasing agent comes back. She gets back in the office. She comes to the apartment and she's like, oh, she could still sleep here. Like, it's not that bad. But to me, I'm like, it smells horrible in here. Like, why would you want somebody to sleep in here? Would you sleep in here? You know. Anywho, she's like, oh, you can use the bathroom at another apartment for the night. Bam. So I guess the maintenance guy tells her, oh, well, she was going to leave anyway. So, you know, we'll have time to come in and fix things or whatnot. Okay, so I stayed there that night, ended up having to go to a whole nother apartment. That was like a 10-minute walk. It was raining at night. Had to go to another apartment to, you know, like use the bathroom, to take a shower, like things like that. And then I decided, you know what, because I went back to the apartment after everything was done. It took them 3 weeks to fix the bathroom. So I go back to the apartment and I'm like, you know what? No. Because at that point, like, I'm pretty sure mold and mildew was probably growing like in the woods. They are old apartments. So spider crickets started hopping out, like, and they were coming from each and every angle. Oh my gosh, those spider crickets, they are horrifying. They were coming from everywhere. I'm just like, I cannot. The bathroom job that was done, I feel like it was like a blotch job, like a blotch surgery. So I just decided, you know what, no, I cannot. I can't stay here. I need to just go. So I decided to terminate my lease. It was a fight with them to terminate my lease. They didn't want to give me credit for my rent for the next month because she said, oh, you said you were leaving anyway, so you weren't going to be here anyway. Am I not paying every day for this apartment? It's unavailable to use. If you can't use the bathroom, you can't use the apartment. Why would I have to pay for that? Fought about that for a while with the leasing agent. We're going back and forth in text messages. So they ended up giving me like $300 off of my rent credit for the month of August. And I was going back and forth like, oh, I want to cancel my lease. Oh, I don't. Oh, I want to cancel my lease, because it was like, I'm going to have to find somewhere else to go in this nick of time, you know? And then, so I get somewhere else to go. I thought it was going to be okay. But then it wasn't, but then again it was. So it was just like up and down, it was just back and forth, it was just a big mess. But then in the end I was like, you know what, no, I can't stay here. Yeah, I'm gonna cancel the lease. Cool. When I first thing I wanted to do was transfer to another apartment, one that was not on the ground. I was told it's gonna be $1,000 in fees. I thought about that. They said, okay, you know what, if you stay here, we're gonna give it to you for free, and we'll give you the credit off of your rent. I got the credit off my rent. I'm like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna stay. So they wanted 2 months of rent for me to move out. But this was my thing. I'm not moving out because of my own leisure. I'm not moving out because it's like, oh, guess what, I found somewhere better, or I just want to break the lease for no reason. No, I'm moving out because I feel like these apartments are not safe. They're not sanitary. I don't want to stay here. This happened after a month of me living here? No. So I fought them about the $21.58 that they wanted to charge me to stay there. I agreed to paying 1 month of rent, not 2. So I was there for like a couple of weeks in the month of August. Spider crickets were everywhere. They were like crawling up the wall next to the bed. One had jumped on the bed in the middle of the night. Like, good thing I opened my eyes. He would have been on me. I would have, oh my goodness. Anyway, I got out of there. I am not looking back. I paid them the 1 month of rent to terminate the lease. I signed the lease termination and everything. Everybody's agreed to everything, so that won't affect my credit or anything. All of that is done. I'm just so glad that that is over. And then again, I'm so sad because I'm like, this could have been a really nice home for me, you know, and just for me, but didn't work out that way. So that is why I ended up moving out of my brand new apartment. And I also was mentioning that like it was a hassle to go to the laundry room, that like, so the lady who actually introduced me to the apartment, who I actually signed the lease with, she was like, oh, it's a brand new apartment, it was newly renovated and everything. But then like my friend was able to like pick up hair from the carpet. Like, how can you pick up hair from the carpet with your toes? Like, no, this is not new. This is not newly renovated. You lied. Anyway, like I say, so that's the story. I am out of there, you know, free of any charges from them. They don't have any problems from me. The only thing I am waiting for from them is my deposit back. Once everything is squared away, once everything is done, I'm expecting my deposit. If not, then I'm going to be calling and have another fight about that. But I guess the end of this story is just to not be spontaneous with things like that, to not be impulsive, to just sign a lease because you can, because it looks nice online. Like, it's not a good thing. So, but yeah, that's what happened. So end of story. I'm scotch-free, but out of my own home. So, but I'm okay, so thank goodness for that. All right guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day.